Let's go with another When I'm Not Podcasting. We're going to talk about super straight. Now, I've already tried 3 times to go ahead and try to record this, and I didn't like where I was going with it because it is that kind of subject. And I don't want to talk about it from political sense, but I know it's getting politicized, and I get that part. But I think there's something more about the understanding of dating and what it means for the fact that the term super straight has been brought into the lexicon from TikTok, of all places. Insider.com are going to take a story that's very critical of the super straight campaign, the movement, a social media trend that this writer, Stephen Sark, calls people identifying as super straight. He's calling it a transphobic campaign meant to divide LGBTQ plus people. Okay, let's go into the story. Let's talk about this. Now, he does explain the whole idea of super straight. Over the past week, some people online have been referring openly referring to themselves as super straight, causing the term to trend across various social media platforms. According to Urban Dictionary, the term is meant to refer to a preference of the opposite sex with the exclusion of transgender people. You know, okay, now members of the transphobic movement, they're going to say it's a sexual orientation when it's clearly a preference. And there's been a lot of intense discord online, he says. So Urban Dictionary says the exclusion of transgender people. Now, I understand that's the definition they put in there, but to my understanding and to understanding the super straight phenomenon, it's that a man or a woman, doesn't matter of, by the way, this is no matter of any person of any nationality, race, creed, or or a nationality, origin. No matter where you came from, no matter what color you are, no matter where you are from, your culture, your dialect, if you were biologically born a man with the sexual organs for a man and the other way around for a woman with the sexual organs that are biologically in a woman, okay, then that person wants to date or marry and or have sex with the opposite sex. That's what that means. But it has to be that the guy wants a woman with a vagina and she was born with one. The guy wants a penis born with a penis. That's where it comes from. That's at that particular definition, I understand it. It's basically what we understood as straight men and women before all this came about, before we got into gender pronouns and identity and things like that, and giving us names like polyamorous or cisgender or what have you. Like that's before that, that's what meant by straight. But of course, this is an outcry to the fact of, well, we just can't have straight people because straight people can also be, they can interact with transgenders, right? With somebody that is born with a different way. Okay. So the thing was, somebody wanted to say, okay, well, we need to go make sure that straight people, the definition of straight people is not the same. So we're going to go super straight. Now, this is being talked about as this is the way of, counteracting the identitarianism by using a term that is very identitarian in its own frame. So with many users encountering the idea for the first time may not know, and this is where the Insider.com article goes into. And this is a point where the super straight concept, when I first heard about it, sounded fine. But now this is becoming a political issue. Why? I don't know. But obviously, that's what people wanted to go with. According to discussion threads on 4chan, trolls deliberately plan to provoke a reaction and divide the LGBTQ plus community by spreading the super straight idea. So the original creator appears to be a TikToker by the name of Kyle Royce. On February 21st, he posted a video titled, "Who Else is Super Straight?" Now, the video was deleted and he uploaded it to YouTube, or has been uploaded to YouTube. The content creator's in his car, much like many TikTok videos, right? He's sharing his thoughts, puts the hashtag sexuality and funny. The video pulled in over 1 million views before the creator took it down, claiming in a comment that others had sent death threats to my mom over it. In the video, the creator is explicit about creating the term because he was tired of being called transphobic. Here's what he said, quote, "I've made a new sexuality. Straight men get called transphobic because I wouldn't date a trans woman. Now I'm super straight. I only date the opposite gender, women that are born women. So you can't say I'm transphobic now because now that is just my sexuality. I created it because I was sick of being labeled with with negative terms for having a preference, something I can't control, and getting labeled by the community that preaches acceptance with that sort of stuff. And Cal Royce told this to Insider.com, quote, "It was never meant to be hateful towards anyone." And I think I watched the video several times, and I've seen people react to it. I didn't think it was being, disingenuous or being mean, but using the word transphobic, he was trying to make that point. And saying it like that, yeah, you're going to stir some feathers. Absolutely. There's no doubt about that. So in the last couple of weeks, the Super Straight video spread to social media, eventually hitting the .pol board of 4chan. The board members discussed creating and sharing memes about being super straight to drive a wedge. So this is the part I don't care for. Again, using this as a thing, this is where I'm tired for politics to get into my shit. Okay. I already had that last month with the stocks. I have BlackBerry stock. I'm waiting for it to come back, but it got caught up in the Reddit investor Robinhood bullshit. Okay. Not that I don't appreciate the guys wanting to take it to the man, but they were affecting people's money. So they affected my money, and I lost quite a bit as a result of that, which sucks. But that's what they did. Now, with that said, this is the same thing. Where this was like a meant to be, oh, this is nice. Okay. The guy wants to be super straight. All right. Got it. I get the point. It might become a thing. Well, it's become a thing because 4chan and other places decided to go ahead and get into it. That's what they decided to do. So the idea was, now he goes on and talks about, trying to drive a wedge in the LGBTQ plus community and use the left tactics against themselves, call them bigots for not accepting super straights. So again, it's the other way around. It isn't any better. Okay, I don't care for those that want to go ahead and try to shove somebody's narrative or agenda in my face. I don't care for that either. But I don't care about it on either side. Put it like that. And that's how it goes on. So people wanted to go ahead and turn around the conversation and say, oh, well, it's the 4chan people. It's the 4chan people. It's like QAnon. No. That wasn't the original intent of what it sounded like was the original video. Now, for this to go into a movement that's just something much different, well, I don't know what to tell you. But now this has gotten tainted. What was actually probably like a sincere comment was already kind of taken out of place because he used the word transphobic twice. Because he was trying to counteract. And the reason he said it was because of transphobia. So, all that right there are just black flags. That's just going to lead to stirring some shit in the pot. That's the hornet's nest right there. Now, Kyle Royce also said, quote, I know a lot of people have the same opinion as me, but they are too scared to say it in fear of the backlash and the misinterpretations, which is exactly what's happening here. Misinterpretation. Now, there is apparently a flag. And, of course, under the Twitter name Super Straight, or SUPA_STR8, there's a post that came out, and this is March 5th, and it says, what is super straight? This is a new sexuality that means that you are only attracted to cisgender women or men. This was made due to an influx of people saying that you aren't straight if you aren't attracted to trans men/women. We are part of the LGBTQ plus now. Hashtag super straight. Again, why this is a fight to go and have, I don't know, but it's pretty stupid. And so that's where we are now. And there's more people that got up on Twitter and started talking about it. Okay. And people started making comments. And the critics of the movement pointed out it was thinly veiled transphobia. Which basically everybody that they showed on this article, that's exactly what they said. It was just transphobic. But that's all they could say about it. But why not have an actual conversation about it? No, we can't have that. That's not possible. Abby Innie on Twitter explained in a thread that this movement was created to exclude trans people. And, quote, you see trans women less as women and trans men less as men than cis people, and that's transphobic. Well, I don't look at it that way. And I don't know why everybody else does. I mean, can we just leave people if you don't like somebody, leave them alone. Really. People talk about division. Well, the reason is people like to stir the shit up. Like the media already does that enough. And they basically kind of encourage the rest of us to do the same thing. So this is just an outreach from the same crap we see in Washington, D.C. and the same crap we see in the media. Because if somebody else puts it out there, oh, well, look what the media does and look what kind of reaction happens. So on social media, the same thing happens here. And that's what comes up. So Kyle Royce explains it's not transphobic. It was never meant to be. But the criticism hasn't stopped the movement from growing. The subreddit Superstraight was launched on March 1st and already had 17,000 subscribers. And on the sub, you could find posts claiming they were dealing with superphobia. So this here doesn't, really, I didn't like it too much. And by the way, the original story did not include Kyle Royce's comments, but they did add that into the article, which is good. So at least we got the point. But I also think it doesn't matter so much about the super straight movement. I think Kyle Royce at least had some well intentions behind it. But we know other people get into this. And this is just an ongoing issue of like, why do we always have to go and bring this back up? Why do we always have something that comes up that's kind of interesting and all of a sudden, everybody has to crap on it? Again, you can't say anything. It's so hypersensitive. Anything out there in the culture, which is why, there's a culture that is one particular parallel, that's just everything that's like controlled and woke and very contrived and pushed down people's throats. And then there's a part of people that are grassroots, some things that might come from this grassroots type of mainstream, things that come up on social media that become like the next thing, whatever the next TikTok challenge is, or the next person on Instagram becomes the next influencer, things like that. Those are the people that are there. Celebrities are dying. The influencers are increasing, and they're becoming bigger and better than ever. And that's just the way it is. Streaming's more important than traditional cable or television or picking up music with a unit and buying it. That's what's changing. And there are some people that don't like the changes happening because everything's controlled through the internet. And when something like this comes from the internet and might become part of everyday life and people might start using it, who knows? Again, people just want to be themselves. And if again, are they going to talk? Really, if somebody who might be transgendered, okay, they probably won't even have to hear that phrase from somebody they're talking to. Unless they see a profile on a dating profile and somebody puts super straight. Well, that could just do a lot of things for you. It's just another tag, just like cisgender, just like polyamorous, like whatever. When I see that, I don't even go ahead and bother to talk to somebody that says that. Because I already know there's something, that's just like, just the thought of somebody saying super straight, honestly, I was kind of at first thinking it wasn't a bad thing. I thought, that's kind of cool. But then I started thinking about, and I started seeing the backlash. And I'm like, man, you just can't say anything anymore. I just don't know why it's such a big thing. But again, what I also see that's going to happen pretty soon is that all the political commentary types on YouTube, all the responders, they're all going to jump on this. Every one of them. It's just going to be a thing, and they're going to constantly talk about it. And look, you want to do it, go right ahead. But I wanted to jump on here and just, recognize what's going on here. And because, again, I was interested in it, all into it. This is what When I'm Not Podcasting is about, and it's a rare case I will talk something like this. But at first, I was going to talk about the fascination of using the phrase super straight. But now I had to change that around because after doing more research and recording it at first, and I wasn't happy about it, I did it again, and I said, oh, you know what? No, I got to change my way of how I'm going to rephrase this. Because the super straight movement has been hijacked. And, of course, it's going to be called transphobic. I think there are going to be some players that are going to use the phrase that are definitely transphobic, right? But then there are some that were just honestly trying to just make sure they were pegged out and just say, hey, I'm not interested in anybody and dating anyone transgender. That doesn't mean that that anybody's trying to isolate or trying to downplay anybody who is. It's not something, it's not a lifestyle that I would pick, and that's okay. You know, we're more understanding that, people understanding who might be gay and who's not, and the lifestyle that somebody wants to live who's gay, which is really just like living everyday lives. The only difference is just you decided to be with somebody of the same sex. That's, I think it's pretty well grounded that people are kind of pretty much accepting of it. Of course, you're never going to have 100% acceptance. Same thing here. But I don't care for this to be a counter reaction to the identitarianism. I don't care for that. But I thought if somebody wants to put up there and say, hey, whatever. Somebody wants to put that up there initially and it didn't have all this backlash. Well, the backlash was going to be brought out there. Listen, the Insider.com article, they found out that somebody was already talking about this. So it's people that are politicizing it. And one way or the other, it's still not good. And I hate it. I don't like it. But I had to go and talk about it. So I'm glad I got this out. And again, it's one or the other. I don't think it was anything that Kyle Royce said that was so bad. I think, obviously using the word transphobic is a trigger word, and you're going to get it for that. So, that's what you get. I get what you were trying to do, but, again, TikTok videos, sometimes you might be a little bit regretful of what you say on TikTok or what you might post up there. I get that part. And a lot of people don't think about what they put on social media before they do, or they second guess it, or they regret, which is what you should not do. Again, Tom Likas, a radio host for many years, always talks about when you put something out in the public, you should be able to go ahead and not have to apologize for it, because apologize basically is for suckers. I mean, if you have to apologize because you did it, then it's on you. Why did you have to do something that you were going to have to apologize about? So again, I'm trying to understand it from both sides, and I'd love the conversation to continue. If you are checking this out on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/JBRASCO951, then please go and comment there. I want to hear your comments. Again, I thought the intention was actually not bad by Kyle Royce initially, but the politicization, I hate it. And the criticism by the LGBTQ community, it sucks. Because now it's just another thing that's going to make people just divide. And it's just stupid, and it never had to get there. But again, people are just overly sensitive these days, and I don't get it anymore. I just don't. I'm going to leave it there, and I will talk to you next time.